Hi everyone, welcome back. I ordered these handmade Paint Wild watercolors a while ago and I've been sitting on them waiting for the right time to record a swatch and palette setup video. All these watercolors are handmade by Emma Witte. Her brand started as the Watercolor Factory and she has since rebranded it to Paint Wild. I've collected a few of the different tints from Emma over the years and I'm extremely happy on how her brand has evolved. So let's start by seeing what I have to sort through. First, I have my current in-use set. This has all three of her recommended primaries, a white, a black, and her version of Payne's Grey. In this set, I also have a small dot card of three of her shimmer or iridescent watercolors. The half pans always come with a magnet already attached to the bottom and a small sticker with their name, which is really handy. Because sometimes I mix brands in the same palette, I have the habit of adding the brand name and also the pigment into the remaining sides of the pan. Next, I have a tin of spare primaries. I found three of them still in her older packaging. The new packaging now uses a beautiful teal foil. Her watercolors are extremely pigmented and last a really long time. Here I have 6 earthy toned watercolors. Here is her limited edition cotton candy set, which has 6 pastel colors. Here are 2 of her iridescent watercolors that I like the most, a warm gold and a pearl. In the big black tin, I have a range of reds, lots of blues and greens, some purples and a grey. Some months ago, I also got her Christmas edition dot card with all her iridescent watercolors. I don't use shimmers that often, so it isn't worth it for me to buy half pans of all of them. Her dot cards are incredibly generous and they do last a long time. I wanted to keep all of her watercolors in a very special palette, and I finally have the right one, a Schminke Academy limited edition palette. The palette tray that came with this one only allowed for 2 rows of half pans for a total of 24 watercolors, but luckily I have another metal palette with a similar size tray that I was able to swap around. This tray is arranged slightly differently and allows me to add half pans in the middle as well, so I end up with 3 rows. Over the years, I tried to get all of her single pigment watercolors as that allows for better color mixing, but I ended up collecting almost all of her available colors. Now, here is where my palette setup gets tricky. I usually follow the brand's recommended order of colors, but for some reason I decided that, since Emma swatches all of her colors on the packaging, I would try and sort them in a rainbow order myself. As you will see after I'm done unwrapping these, I quickly defaulted into sorting them in the order Emma has them listed in the website. One of the colors, Electric Sky, was a little bit sticky, but as Emma recommended, I popped it into the freezer for a couple of minutes before unwrapping it. Emma Witte is probably one of the first people I started following when I started painting with watercolors. I started back in 2017, but I only really tried to learn in 2018 when I found myself super confused on how to get the colors that I wanted. At around that time, I found Emma's tutorials and her Politicat Color Theory 101 course. This was a lifesaver. I was finally able to understand how to properly mix colors, and to this day I go through the course at least once a year with a different brand or trio of colors. She's definitely responsible for my love of color and color mixing, and she's responsible for my ever-growing collection of watercolor mixing charts. I'm a massive fan of her art and her teaching style, and also her watercolors. And by the way, no, this video is not sponsored in any way. If you are interested, she has opened up a refreshed version of this free color theory course on her website. Check the link down below in my description. For the swatching, I'll be using my Caddy Paper sketchbook. This sketchbook has a black watercolor paper both at the front and end, which I'll be using to swatch the iridescent watercolors. I actually have a delisted color as well, Golden Sand, which has been replaced by Desert Sun. Emma's iridescent or shimmer watercolors are made using synthetic mica, which I really appreciate. There are a lot of ethical issues with the sourcing of naturally occurring mica, and having her using synthetic is just amazing. Pearl is a soft silver. Champagne is a cool bronze. Midas is a warm gold. Gilded is a cool gold. Blaze is an orange copper. Rosé is a red copper. Frosting is a cool pink. Royalty is a blue violet. Neptune is a blue. Glacier is a turquoise. Relic is a green gold. After I was done playing around with the order of the watercolors, I did initial swatches. When these were done, I actually wasn't happy with the order the regular watercolors were sorted in. For starters, I had left the limited edition sets on the outside, and I wanted to incorporate them with the rest of the regular watercolors so the palette feels like one cohesive collection. The shimmer watercolors, or iridescent as Emma calls them, I'll be transferring over to a mini palette, so the order I swatch them in doesn't really matter at this stage. After trying to sort them on the paper, I reorganized the swatches in the pans themselves. Once this was done, I went back and swatched the colors again, this time with a gradient, so I would get a better feel for the colors and how they behave. You'll see once I'm done that I still wasn't happy with the order of the colors, so I reorganized them one last time and finally put them in the palette. I did a very quick mini swatch to make sure I was happy with it, and finally I did a proper gradient and wet-on-wet swatch of the regular watercolors. Snow, made with PW6, is an opaque and neutral white, perfect for adding highlights or tinting. Sunrise, made with PW6 and PY74, is a pastel yellow. Primary Yellow, made with PY74, is a cool transparent yellow and is one of her recommended primaries. Golden Sand, made with PY43, is discontinued and has been replaced by Desert Sun. Desert Sun, made with PY43, is also known as Yellow Ochre and is opaque. Outback, made with PBR7, is also known as Burnt Sienna and is opaque. Peachy Keen, made with PW6, PY74, and PV19, is a pastel peachy pink. Strawberry, made with PV19, is a rosy red, also known as quinacridone red. This is a warmer, transparent red. Primary Red, made with PR122, is also known as quinacridone magenta and is another one of her recommended primaries. It is her offer of a cool, transparent red. Pink Clay, made with PR233, is also known as Potter's Pink and is opaque and granulating. Merlot, made with PR179, is a transparent, wine-looking red that resembles a muted alizarin crimson. Lightning, made with PR256, is an ultramarine pink. It is semi-transparent and granulating. Lilac Haze, made with PW6, PV29, and PV19, is a pastel purple. Thunder, made with PV15, is an ultramarine violet. It is opaque and granulating. Blue Moon, made with PW6 and PV29, is a pastel blue. Electric Sky, made with PV29, is an ultramarine blue. It is a good option in Emma's range for a warm blue and it is granulating. Deep Ocean, made with PV27, is a transparent color also known as Prussian blue. Iceberg, made with PV31, is a translucent semi-opaque and granulating color also known as Egyptian blue. According to her website, this particular pigment or color dates back 5,000 years. Primary Blue, made with PV15-3, is also known as Phthalo Blue. It is a cool transparent blue. High Tide, made with PB36, is a semi-opaque blue that to me looks a lot like a cerulean blue. Seaweed, made with PG7, is a phthalo green and it is transparent. Turquoise Dreams, made with PW6, PY74, and PB153, is a pastel turquoise. Limelight, made with PW6, PY74, and PG7, is a pastel green. Mint, made with PG51, is a semi-opaque historical pigment also known as Potter's Green. Just like Iceberg, it is very transparent and granulating. Evergreen, made with PG17, is an opaque rich green. Chocolate, made with PBR7, is also known as raw umber and it is semi-opaque. Seashell, made with PW6.1, is a very light opaque beige and is also known as buff titanium. Stone, made with PW6.1, is an opaque mid-gray. Coal, made with PBK11, is a super textured and granulating black, also known as Mars Black. Storm, made with PB15-3, PBK6 and PV19, is Emma's version of Payne's Grey and it is semi-transparent. I'm I'm so happy I finally got around to setting these watercolors in a more deserving and permanent home. I'll be creating a nice palette swatch card to put inside the lid, and then I'll be creating individually detailed swatch cards for each one of these watercolors to add to my color library. I have a future video planned to show you all of my swatch cards and color mixing collection. My collection is currently a little bit out of date and I haven't had the chance to consistently update it with new watercolors in the past couple of years. Would you like me to record this process? Let me know down below in the comments. If you are curious about the watercolors I just swatched, I highly recommend that you hop onto Emma's website. She has an amazing color selection and a dedicated page to her colors with swatches, pigment info, color description, light fastness, opacity or transparency, etc. Have you ever tried these handmade watercolors before? Which colors do you have? If not, which brands have you tried? If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. If you'd like to be notified when my next video goes up, don't forget to click the notification button. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time!